Good morning and welcome to Wake Up to Broker Up with Mark, episode number 22 for 2026. Today we're going to talk about assumptions, and then I'm going to tell you a story as it relates to assumptions. So let's talk about assumptions and how we automatically, all the time, sometimes unconsciously without even knowing it, do assumptions. We assume we know something when maybe we don't. And today, that's going to relate to the story that I'm about to tell you, as it has to do with unrepresented buyers and prospective buyers who are out in the marketplaces who may be sending over blind offers or offers randomly on your listings. And the assumption more than likely is that these people are just spraying and praying and hoping that some of their offers actually hit and that they're able to buy a property way below market value to suit whatever purpose that they have for that property. That's the assumption. But what if one of those people, any of them randomly, has been doing real estate longer than any of us and knows more about how the system works than any of us, and specifically the responsibilities of licensees as it relates to the people they represent, but also to the general real estate public here in Georgia as a Georgia licensee. And for instance, that they know that every offer that is submitted needs to be presented to the seller. What if they know that? How would we know that they don't? So we need to change our assumption that they're just crackpots out there randomly shooting out offers to anybody and everybody, and think that maybe they know more than we think they know, and therefore we should take their random, odd offers seriously. Now, that's a big change in how we think. That's a paradigm shift, as it were. We don't talk about paradigms much anymore, but if we did, we would talk about the shift of a paradigm that you've held a long belief for a long time, and now you're going to shift it to something else, meaning that you're not going to assume anymore that the random offers that you get on any listing you may have isn't from somebody who may know more than you know, regardless of what the offer details. And here's how it relates to that story. Right now, currently, in the Atlanta Communities real estate world, there is a prospective buyer, and that prospective buyer is, we're going to call them an investor, and that prospective buyer is submitting offers to listing agents, and they're doing it by preparing an email. I think that's how they're doing it, preparing an email and sending over an email. And the email gets overlooked, ignored, whatever, because oftentimes the offer price is 50% below whatever the list price is. And here's where the assumptions get us. So we think that, and we see it, and we think, seller's never going to take this. That's just a random blind offer, crackpot, nut job, sending over something. Except in this case, and in this story, which is a true story, by the way, the person making the offer reaches out to leadership here, brokers, corporate, and says to them, hey, I presented an offer and I don't have any indication that it was ever presented to the seller. That's a problem. And it's a problem because the prospective buyer knows that we have an obligation under license law to submit all offers, not offers that we deem that will be accepted by the sellers, not offers that we think are offers that are good offers. There's no distinction there. All offers need to be presented to the seller. So this has happened more than once in the last 7 to 10 days, where this person has submitted offers on properties to listing agents of Atlanta Communities and gotten no response, at which point, fortunately, the person has reached out to leadership and or to brokers and said, hey, I submitted an offer, never got any answer that it was received, never got any answer that it was presented, never got any of those things. Now, if that person were to file a complaint with the Georgia Real Estate Commission and had proof that they submitted offers, where's your proof that that offer made it from your inbox and was presented to the seller? The seller has no obligation to accept any offer that's submitted to the seller, presented to the seller, but you have an obligation to present every offer, regardless of what the content of the offer is, to the seller. This is serious business. And I don't know how to get everybody to understand. You may see this post on Rocks at some point. You may see an email come through to you, but it's really serious and very important, because if that person were to go to the Georgia Real Estate Commission and file a complaint against any of one of our Atlanta community's real estate listing professionals, where would your proof be that the offer was presented to the seller? Email is easy. You email it to the seller, and then you have proof that you sent it to the seller. The seller then can counter it, ignore it, turn it down, whatever. And my suggestion is, regardless of whether the seller says, I'm not responding to it, have the seller respond to you that they're not going to respond to it, so that you have written verification that the offer was presented and that the seller said, thanks, but no thanks. You never know. Stop with the assumptions. Assume that every offer is the best offer you're ever going to get on any property, and present the offer to the seller. Serious business. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your weekend. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.